Elijah Pritchett, 57 for Alabama. He's going in right now on the offensive line.
Talked about all the issues they've had on the right tackle position with Wilkin Formby now, and with the game on the lines, and they're bringing in a guy that might not be 100% healthy.
Here he goes. Jam Miller past midfield. Ryan Williams. Look at this kid. Justice Haynes brings it right in, a 29-yard touchdown.
So people at home are like, where was this offense for the first, I don't know, 50 minutes of this game?
So Alabama's offensive line was the topic of conversation all night on Saturday in its matchup against South Florida. In particular, the competition between Wilkin Formby and Elijah Pritchett. I'm going to say this, Pritchett, the redshirt sophomore from Columbus, Georgia, should have been playing from the very first snap. When he came in the game, y'all, the game changed. It was 14-13, Alabama clinging to a 1-point lead over South Florida for much of that game, especially second half. And then you look at Wilkin Formby of home in high school, even though he was a decent blocker in high school, had issues with holding, had issues with penalties. Wilkin had several penalties in that football game, and quite a few of them that negated explosive plays, a few of them that ended drives, a few of them that took momentum away from Alabama. And I understand in the press conference post-game, Kalen DeBoer talked about, Elijah Pritchett had a bit of an ankle thing, and they didn't want to force him out there. They didn't want to push him out there. But Pritchett forced himself on the field because Pritchett saw the team was struggling. Pritchett saw the offensive line was struggling. Pritchett saw the team was having issues moving the ball. Pritchett's like, man, let me out here. And he got that dog in him. Let me out here. Let me go ahead and help my team. And he goes out there. I don't know if a lot of y'all saw this, but in the fourth quarter, Alabama's offense exploded for 28 points. 28 points to South Florida's 3. That's the reason why it was able to pull away 42-16. And in those 28 points, Elijah Pritchett was in the offensive rotation. He was on the field. He was on the field, taking over for Wilkin Formby. And if you look at the rushing touchdown that Jam Miller had, before Pritchett got in the game, Alabama could not run the football. The run game was non-existent. Alabama didn't have a run game, period, before Pritchett came in there. I think Alabama had, 38, 39 yards rushing before Pritchett came in. Yeah, Jalen Milroe had, 2 rushing touchdowns, but Alabama couldn't run the football. And so the moment DeBoer and offensive line coach Chris Kaplovich finally made the switch to Pritchett, you saw, bam, Jam Miller 5-yard run, Jam Miller 6-yard run, Jam Miller 7-yard run, Jam Miller explosive rushing touchdown. And after the rushing touchdown, Elijah Pritchett came to the sideline yelling, screaming, jumping, passion, dogging him, let's go. Pritchett was hyped up. He was excited because he knew he should have been out there on the field from the jump. He's out there road grading. He's out there mowing guys down. He's out there getting big-time blocks for Jam Miller. Also had a big-time block for Justice Haynes, springing him for a touchdown run. Had some big-time blocks for Jalen Milroe, getting him sort of up and down the field there. And then in pass protection, the 2 touchdown passes that, that Jalen had to Kobe Prentice and to Ryan Williams there at the end, Pritchett got the key blocks on both of those, giving Milroe time to throw the football. So Pritchett should have been in the game from the jump. Should have been out there. He was the immediate backup behind Caden Proctor at left tackle. Pritchett was the immediate backup right there. He should have been in there. Pritchett should have been in the game from a jump. Like I said, I get Kalen DeBoer's point of, well, he had an ankle and we didn't want to push it. We didn't want to risk it. We didn't want to do all of these things. But when you see your offensive line struggling, and Bama's offensive line was struggling, needed a spark, that's the moment Pritchett should have been in the game way earlier than the fourth quarter. Also, when Pritchett went in there, the penalty stopped. I want to the penalty stopped because with Formby out there, Alabama, the majority of the penalties were on the offensive line. Formby had 2 or 3 penalties. Geno Vandermark had 4 or 5 himself, the transfer from Michigan State. Tyler Booker had 2 or 3. The only 2 that didn't have fouls called on them was, I believe, Jaden Roberts and Parker Brailsford. The moment Pritchett went in the game, the penalty stopped. So Bama should have went with the redshirt sophomore from Columbus, Georgia, Elijah Pritchett, at 6'6", 327 pounds from the jump. So hopefully, prayerfully, Kalen DeBoer, Chris Kaplovich, they saw that, they witnessed that, they paid attention to that, and moving forward, Pritchett is the guy on the offensive line. In the passing game, I was happy to see Jeremy Bernard get out there more on the flow. Had like 3 to 4 catches out there for the Crimson Tide. That was good to see for him after he had just 1 catch the previous week. Kobe Prentice got involved in there. He had a touchdown catch, and I would like to see more of him. I don't understand why Alabama's not going to Prentice more. You talk about the speed, the route running, the dog mentality in Kobe Prentice, who had a good freshman year and sophomore year. I just don't understand why he's not being featured more at wide receiver. He needs to be. Ryan Williams, Hollywood special once again, a 2nd straight week with a touchdown catch, had 4 catches for 68 yards and 1 touchdown there. Still waiting on the tight ends to be used a bit more in this offense. Coach Sheridan, come on with these tight ends. Got to get them out there. Got to get them utilized on the field. In this passing game, Milroe wasn't as sharp as he needed to be. 17 of 27 passes completed. Now, some of that was the offensive line prior to Pritchett getting in there. Pressure on Milroe. He's bailing out of the pocket, not trusting the pocket because the pressure was coming. But some of that was also Milroe not being accurate with the football. There were some plays where Milroe just missed guys, missed them. And you got to hit these receivers. You got to put the ball on them. So he's got to make those improvements as well. He fumbled the snap in the red zone. Cost Alabama an opportunity at points there. Put that on himself. He's got to improve in securing the ball on the snap as well as hitting these wide receivers with pinpoint accuracy. And then defensively, Kane Womack is going to rip this defense in practice this week. Oh, goodness. Did not get takeaways. Sacks, you were better in that area. 3 sacks. Big ups to Tim Keenan, who had a big game, 1.5 sacks for him, but no takeaways. We didn't see forced fumbles. We didn't see fumble recoveries. We didn't see interceptions like we saw against Western Kentucky, too, from Keon Saab. So Kane Womack is going to tee off on this defense in practice this week because didn't get those takeaways. And my gosh, if South Florida had a quarterback that could throw worth something, that game would have been even more intense. Byron Brown had, 108 yards rushing? And he was running the same design play over and over again and still had 108 yards rushing. Come on now. Like, if this dude had any ounce of a passing accurate game in him, game could have been worse than what it was. Because there were receivers for South Florida that were running open on Alabama secondary, wide open. There were receivers for the Bulls that were getting up and down the field wide open. And if South Florida had anything that resembled an accurate passing game, this game could have been far worse than what it was. So, I mean, oh my goodness, there's work that this team has to do. There's work that this team has to do, but it starts with that offensive line. You gotta get the right 5 on that field. Pritchett has to be one of those 5. He's got to be. He's got to be one of those 5. Came off that field yelling, screaming, energy, dog mentality. He pushed himself out there because he saw these dudes struggling, penalties, killing drives. I got to get out there and we got to move this football. Pritchett went out there and he got those guys moving the football and helping Alabama to a 42-16 win over South Florida over the weekend, ending the dedication of Saban Field the right way.